let me just start off real quick by saying shout out to Mike from SUPERHORRORBRO for the theory, but the reason I'm making this video is I haven't talked about Bendy in a long time, so now you know, let's do this. Bendy in the Dark Revival, new Bendy, and a new antagonist for upcoming game, Audrey, Henry. Yeah, we have a lot to catch up on. What is up, SmackNPie? SmackNPie here, welcome back to another Bendy in the Dark Revival video. Today, on our journey to the next game in the Bendy's franchise, we will be taking a look at a bunch of stuff, starting with main protagonist, Audrey. Now, there has been multiple theories going around for her. Who is she? How important is she to the original Bendy Ink Machine? Any connection to previous characters in Joey Drew Studios and whatnot? The first theory that seemed way too solid at the time was that Audrey is related to Henry. Yeah, our Henry Stein. We know from chapter 5 that Joey trapped Henry inside the studio to not only keep his secrets hidden from the world and betray his own employees and a good friend, but also to keep the ball rolling. What ball? The darkness within the studio of Ink Machine, the lost one, Bendy, and you get the point. In the ending, a little girl speaks with joy, quote, "Tell me another one, Uncle Joey." Mind instantly grabs onto the fact that yup, it is Henry's daughter. Since Henry and Joey were close friends, you would think that Henry's kids would see Joey as an uncle at that point. So that would make Audrey what? Henry's daughter? I mean, the evidence is right there. Even in Henry's tape, where we learned him talking about not seeing his family, but most specifically, Linda. Well, that was before we learned the name of Audrey and before when theMeatly actually confirmed that Audrey is a new character that we haven't seen before, which unfortunately immediately puts this theory to bed. But if that was a wrong theory, why did I brought it up? Here's the reason, ladies and gentlemen. In the recent Joey Drew Studios video where they addressed why Bendy in the Dark Revival taken so long, we see Audrey walking, but even more so Bendy, or his shadow, taking metaphor as literal, behind her. Countless theories came forward. Is Audrey controlled by Bendy? Is Audrey the puppet and Bendy is the puppet master? Is Audrey and Bendy related? What Bendy is that? Joey's Bendy or a completely new Bendy? And most importantly, what timeline are we in? Well, this is where Mike's theory from recent Bendy Crack-Up book comes into play. We know that this game is not a sequel or prequel. We also know that Henry is stuck in this non-ending time loop in the studio, but in the promotional material, the marketing specifically says break the cycle, which is what Audrey is here to do basically. Something always bothered me. Why choose Allison for the trailer in this new game out of everyone? Why not Boris or Wally? Why Allison in specific? Well, now it makes all sense. Joey Drew, even after all the tapes, all the events that followed, all the fates of his employees, except those who escaped, he was still a man who was obsessed with his own ideas. Bendy, Ink Machine, cartoons, coming to life, all of that. Mike brought up the idea of how Nathan made a smart investment. He saw a company dying in future, but had enough potential so he can become the owner of that franchise later when it needs the most financial help. He also brought up the idea of Nathan, Archgate Films, and Allison being an employee there, making a perfect connection and perfect candidate for this new game, Bendy in the Dark Revival. However, there's a clear distinguish between Nathan and Joey. Nathan only cares about franchise, finance, fame, money, getting back from his investment, seeing his name with the stuff that is popular, no matter what it takes. Joey, on the other hand, is a man who wants to see his idea coming to life, no matter what the cost is or the costs are. From one cruel, heartless, now literally greedy, egotistical maniac villain to another. Nathan Ark, the owner of Archgate Films and the man who took over the franchise, now reviving the company one more time, taking it into the future with a new take on the popular characters of the past. He seems to have little to no idea what he's getting himself into. Joey's Bendy was messy. Joey was about the cruel heart. We saw his manifestation into the monster Bendy, a metaphor for the man that Joey became, thanks to his obsession with the studio and everything in it. Nathan, on the other hand, however, intelligent, a business tycoon as they say, smart, greedy but smart, egotistical, making right choices for himself, now sitting on the throne of what Joey left behind. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Joey's dead, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's alive. However, time doesn't matter for Joey Drew Studios. itself. Joey might be dead in the real world, but he's alive as a manifestation in Bendy and the Joey Drew Studios walls and darkness and ink and the ink machine itself. I wouldn't be surprised if the ink machine itself is now Joey in the new game. The studio has a curse that I just talked about. Ink machine. It has this evil vibe to it, Joey's vibe to it, which turns each character into their real self using their hearts and minds. We know how Joey turned out, but now it's Nathan's turn. Hence the new Bendy, the unknown Bendy, is smart, curious to gain the knowledge of the past. Even if that recording is Nathan, let's suppose, guess what? That is the whole point. This Bendy, this Nathan's Bendy, is far more menacing, cruel, but with intelligence. Curiosity is its biggest strength. Nathan went in too deep with Joey, but he got what he wanted. This Bendy will do the same as Joey's Bendy did to Henry, as can be learned from Boris and the Dark Survival's tape that revealed many important lore-related stuff. This Bendy seems to be new, learning about the secrets as a new child grows and learns by observing its surroundings. That is why this unknown has been called Observer before. We just gave it the name Bendy. He might not be the Bendy when the actual game arrives, but one thing is for sure, Nathan doesn't know what he's getting himself into, and now his curiosity will play a very important role in how he handles the new characters and this timeline. Will Audrey help both herself and Henry to end this madness once and for all? Will Nathan's Bendy's curiosity is gonna be its downfall or biggest strength? Will Audrey join Henry as they both fade into the darkness and deepest depths of what was once known as Joey Drew Studios? Well, we will find out real soon in the Dark Revival, but one thing's for sure, we haven't seen the last of Joey, Alice, or even other characters. How so? Well, that is for another day. Quick shout out to Mike from SuperHorrorBro and IHS Games for the info. I really appreciate it. Go check them out. So let's get this to 40k. Let's get Twitter to 2k. Let's get Insta to 500, even though I use it barely.